Hello friends, and welcome back. Welcome back to a new week, and welcome back to the vlog. Well, today is a Monday, and it's actually Martin Luther King Day, which means it's a national holiday here. So it's kind of nice because I had a wedding this past Saturday. You may recall I mentioned in last week's video, I mentioned that we had Annalise and Parker's wedding. Don't mind, it's one of my dogs who is clearly dehydrated and having some water. So that wedding went off splendidly. Beautiful wedding, the most stunning bride and dashing groom. So all's well, they're on their honeymoon. I'm happy. Sunday, yesterday, a lot of times, a lot of wedding professionals, and I used to do this, they'd call it a wedding hangover, and they would just like crash on Sunday. And I get it, you know, a lot of times we're walking upwards of 9 to 12 miles on any given Saturday. And let's not forget, I'm in a cocktail dress, pantyhose, and shoes. It's not like wearing anything exercise wear that you would otherwise do 9 to 12 miles in. So we did want to get some things accomplished. Mr. Lyons and I organized our garage. It wasn't messy by any means, but when we moved in, we just sort of put things on shelves that we had in the garage, and now we organized it by category. I'm so grateful that we are both like very similar like that. So it just seems to make a lot more sense right now. Easier flow. There's nothing like an organized space in my mind's eye. So we did that. We did some grocery shopping, getting set up for the week so we can eat well and healthy. And so today is kind of a slower day for me. I did not do my weekly Epcot walk with my girlfriend because it is a holiday, and even though Mr. Lyons' office is closed, somehow he's at the office. Now he does have things to do, but my girlfriend's husband is off as well, so we're trying to enjoy some time with our respective husbands. However, now we are ready to plant finally in the garden beds. I've wanted to do this, but we had a freeze warning last week and I couldn't do it. And I wound up having to put freeze blankets over my avocado trees and these baby bougainvilleas I had just planted to grow over the trellis in front of my greenhouse. And so now I have everything ready. Wanted to do it yesterday, but we had another freeze warning. I do want to remind you all that I live in Orlando, Florida. It's just been so cold. It actually had, there were snow flurries in the Panhandle yesterday, so upper northwest of Florida, which is just crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and get started in the garden in a little bit. I'll take you with me. I'm also going to make a delicious vegetarian chili so that can sustain me through the week, because we're still gonna have chillier temps, not quite frigid like we've had, but chillier temps this week. And then Mr. Lyons and I are going to enjoy a little bit of time at Epcot later in the afternoon and the evening. We have a dinner reservation there at one of our favorite restaurants in the park, which is in Italy, in the World Showcase. So that should make for a very lovely Monday and priming me for a very good week ahead. And I have been so busy, been up since 5:30 as I usually am, but I've already done 2 loads of laundry, had breakfast, tidied up the house. I've done a lot of puttering around, which is, if I'm being honest, my very favorite things to do. So now I'm ready to get productive and enjoy the day. So I hope you'll join me. So I love this vegetarian chili recipe, and I love it particularly when we're having cold snaps, or just like anyone would love chili. It's just so cozy and warming. And like I said, we've had some very chilly weather over here, and I believe we are expected to have chilly weather for the rest of the week. Now, chilly for us, it won't be quite as cold as it has been, but it will certainly be in the 40s in the evening and things like that. And we do have some dinner plans, reservations with friends, and otherwise towards the end of the week. But I actually thought this chili would serve me really, really well for lunches, especially if I have dinner out, and this yields plenty. It will also let me, or it'll allow Mr. Lyons, if he wants to cook up some meat or beef of any kind, he can just add it to my chili and then have a heartier meal for him. And for me, it just will, I like to have a larger lunch and then a smaller dinner or a lighter dinner. Just, I think it helps me sleep a lot better. So yeah, I cannot wait to get started with this and then just store it away in individual containers that I have and enjoy it for the rest of the week. Friends, I'm back, and I'm back from guess where? That's right, my happiest place on earth. I'm here in the greenhouse. I'm taking a break. I have about 2 hours before my next meeting. I just finished morning meetings, and I feel like I left off rather abruptly from when I was making the chili and in the garden the other day, which was Martin Luther King Day. That was Monday. That was such a busy day. I don't know when I ever slept better than that evening. I did finish making the chili. I did finish putting whatever I had to put into the garden beds in the garden beds. And I did manage to have that date night with Mr. Lyons at Epcot. And we got to go to the restaurant and just take a loop around the world, as they say. Get some steps in there and came home. I got home and checked my tracker. By the way, I use my Oura Ring, which I have been using for 3.5, maybe 4 years at this point. This is my second one. So that's how long I've been using it, and I absolutely love it. So I tracked my steps at the end of the day, and I was close to 19,000 steps. So it was a busy little day off, and so much for having my little low-key wedding hangover day the day after. But it's all good. Anyway, I feel like I left off rather abruptly. I wanted to show you more of the process of the vegetarian chili and how it came out, and it came out spectacular. It has been serving me well all week, as I had hoped it would. But we started to receive, again, some more vendors. So I think I'm going to give you a little tour of our backyard, which I'm now lovingly referring to as the junkyard. It is not pretty. As my husband said this morning, it's broken. And it is, but there is a plan in place. There is light at the end of the tunnel. We have a lot we want to do. We just want to do it very thoughtfully and considerately, and want to pull in the right professionals to help us achieve our desired effect. So as I give you a tour, I'll let you know what we're planning to go where, and let you know the plans. So for instance, from way back when, I did a video when we first moved in here, and it was called the New House Tour, and I showed you we had just a bunch of pavers in the back, and I sort of joked that I didn't know what they were actually doing with that many pavers, like landing a seaplane, or what was it? So we're pulling up a lot of those pavers, but not throwing them away. We will repurpose or redistribute. All of my wedding clients, or any of my wedding clients watching these videos, know that I use the word repurpose quite a bit in planning. And so when it comes to our home projects as well, I like to repurpose, and so does my husband, as much as we possibly can. So we are pulling up those pavers, and where it extends very far, we're putting in a fire pit. we have a wall. So that's, as soon as you walk out of the backyard, there is a fence, which we've discovered thanks to Freddie is there are breaches because he's gone missing a few times this week, and he's been slipping out under the fence. So now we have to replace that fence. But there are there's sort of landscaping in there that we just don't love. Some of it we do. There's protocarpus in there, which serves as a nice hedge, but we may be looking to do something different. We have quite a bit of protocarpus here at the house already. So there's some landscaping things done there. And as an aside, if anyone here is watching that knows of anyone in the Central Florida area, or if you're in the Central Florida area and you are a true landscape artist, I feel like we've come to the decision that we just can't throw darts at the wall anymore. I think we really need a professional. Like, I know what I like, and obviously my husband knows what he likes, but what I want to sort of achieve is something you don't often see in Florida, and those could be like climbing roses, things like that, almost like English country garden side sort of thing, or like a French garden, things like that. Obviously, that's not always realistic here in Florida due to our warmer climate and things like that. But there are certain plants and shrubs like camellias and things like that that mimic roses that can grow. I did see at one of my favorite nurseries that there is a climbing rose that they were selling here, but again, I need a professional to let me know not only is this possible, but where is the premier or the ideal spot in the house or in the backyard to grow these things successfully. Also, there is a wall. Our master bedroom faces the backyard. And back at the other house in Winter Park, against the casita, we grew a glorious wall of Confederate jasmine. And I just loved seeing that vegetation grow up the wall. When it wasn't flowering, it was a beautiful green wall of greenery. And then of course, when it was about March or so in April, these jasmine flowers just bloomed and the smell was just heavenly. So I'm not sure if we'll do Confederate jasmine here, but I do want something, I believe, growing up that wall. And so I wonder if the climbing roses would be a good idea for there. And then also, which is kind of directly behind me, is a fence that goes from the front yard into the backyard. And you'll see it's all rocks. And I don't know what they were doing here. We thought maybe they had a boat that they parked there, but the gate was not conducive to letting a boat in or out. I just don't know. But everyone has their reasons. And so we listen, but we don't judge, as they say. So we are looking to also do something there. Now, for the grass here, we understand that there is poor drainage. Our next door neighbors have lamented about the same. We definitely have seen it. At this point, we really only have weeds growing in the backyard in lieu of grass. And we can see that a French drain was put in. But just like we had in Winter Park, we are going to put artificial turf in. It worked so well for us, especially for my personality, which is I just like everything sort of perfect. And I maybe it's a personality flaw, I don't know, but I like it to look pretty flawless all the time. And so the artificial turf does that. Also, from a practicality standpoint, the maintenance is zero, and it's really great with the dogs. So when they have their messes and everything, obviously I pick up after them, but it's so much easier to hose down. And I feel like when we have people in the backyard, I'm not always on guard that there may be a mess somewhere that someone can get into that maybe I have not reached yet. That's kind of disgusting, but just letting you know where we stand with artificial turf. So even though there will be turf coming in from that part also, we don't know if we want to put a pergola there. Again, we had a really beautiful pergola in Winter Park that we trained Bougainvillea to go over, but I do have a trellis right outside of this greenhouse here, and I'll open the door for you in just a second. And I did get some Bougainvillea to train to go up that. So I don't want to double down on the Bougainvillea, particularly because it is a beast to maintain. It is very thorny, and we love our gardener Chip too much to put him through too many thorns. So we don't think wisteria grows here, but there's something that mimics that I believe is called Queen Mary or something like that. It's a beautiful one in downtown Winter Park. Do we have that? But we want to do sort of this tunnel, and maybe I could try to find a picture to pop on the screen to illustrate what I'm talking about. But future landscape architect, if you're out there and listening, these are our ideas, but we just need someone to help us put these into place and into motion. So we are open to any and all suggestions. Anyway, the reason why I'm in here between meetings is, of course, it's my happy place, but I got some seeds from my best friend Tracy's husband, John. And if I'm being honest, you know, John is a prolific gardener, and he has grown so many wonderful vegetables and fruits in their backyard here in Central Florida, and I've always been in awe of it. From when I was living in a townhouse, I would just dream about, could I ever have a garden? And here we are. Because remember, I told you in another video, you can have whatever it is you want. And this was what I wanted, and I made it happen. He came over on the New Year's Day barbecue and saw the garden beds, and I mentioned to him in Michigan that I had a great season growing tomatoes, particularly heirloom tomatoes. And I not only love the taste of heirloom tomatoes, I love presenting them when we have guests because they're just so beautiful and so tasty. So he said that he grows a beautiful, it's called Florida 91 tomato. I have never heard of it before. This is it. I don't know if you can read it, but he told me that he would have some seeds to share with me. And so I just had lunch with Tracy this week, and so she gave me these seeds. So while we were literally sitting at lunch, I asked her to ask him if I can direct sow these into the garden, or if I should start these in the greenhouse. He recommended that I start them in the greenhouse, so I am going to do just that. I'm going to start these babies, and then I'll show you what I have in the greenhouse already, which are some heirloom tomatoes and some cherry tomatoes as well. But what else is here? Also, I have, let's see, I'm gonna try this for the first time. I've been meaning to do it. I meant to do it in Michigan and never got around to it, but I don't know if I can hold it up for you, but you can see the paper towel there. So when I was making the chili, it called for a bell pepper. And in that pepper, I went, of course, when I was cutting it up, I took the seeds out and then washed them thoroughly, and they've been drying here on the paper towel. So what I think I'm going to do is also, I have a bunch of these from, I didn't want to buy trays. So what I have are these from marigolds, yes, that I bought to put around the tomatoes because they serve as, it's a toxic plant to many insects and pests, and so it protects my tomatoes, and it served me well last season as well. So I'm going to start those in there and see if I have any luck growing bell peppers. That would be so fun. Otherwise, I will turn the camera around in just a moment. My lime tree is blossoming quite beautifully, and it looks like my lemon tree is trying as well. I've also started to grow pea shoots again, and here they are. They're loving the greenhouse. So I think I'm going to continue to do that because I don't have a viable windowsill in the house to do it. As much as I love to see these, oh my gosh, pea shoots smell so good. As much as I love to see these in my home growing, they just do so well here. So what I think I'll do is just harvest these, start a new one. We keep them in the refrigerator. It should last until the next sort of bumper crop comes in. So we're doing super well there. So let's get on. I think I'll show you the garden first and then the junkyard next. Okay, friends, here we are in the garden, and I can't quite believe I was actually complaining. Sounds like a strong word, but we'll just call it like we see it. I was complaining to my husband that I didn't think the garden beds were big enough, and when I started planting, I was like, good grief, I don't even know. So I have so much negative space still that I need to feed. Of course, this is a very awkward time of year for me to find some plants to grow. Again, I'm late to the game, starting from seeds, so I tried to find plants that were already in place other than those Florida 91s that I showed you that Tracy's husband gave me. But here I do have, now this is supposed to be an heirloom tomato, and they're called like a purple heirloom. So hopefully these are native to Florida. What you do want very much is to find native plants to your region. Obviously these will thrive the best, grow the best, and I got like 3 trays of marigold plugs here and planted them all around because I have learned the hard way how much pests truly love tomatoes, and so I have those there to protect it. Also, I have some basil here. There is a saying in the gardening world, what is it called? If it goes together, it grows together. So oftentimes, what do we see? We have like a caprese salad, tomatoes with some mozzarella burrata cheese and basil. So the two go together, so they complement and they'll grow well together. If you see some white streaks here, this was a trick I learned when I was growing in Michigan, and I was making sourdough the other day. When you have your discard, it loves, when you dilute it, that water, the tomatoes love it. I don't know. So I went ahead and plugged that in there. Here I have some more of those heirlooms. They're called Cherokee Purple. So hopefully those do well. I put them a little bit away from the cage. Oh, this is an update I haven't showed you, I don't think. These are the arches that my husband built for me. And it is just cattle wire, but he is so sweet. He went ahead and spray painted the black so that they would aesthetically sort of fit my needs, and I really appreciate that. Again, some more basil, and then these are the cherry tomatoes. These are called Sweet Million, and hopefully these grow well. Now this side is what I saved for the Florida 91s, so once those start sprouting up from the greenhouse, I will go ahead and transplant them there. Some more basil, and then just in the back, I did see some tips too. Gosh, and I really want to take a gardening lesson too. But anyway, that you fill the borders or sort of the edges with either flowers or herbs, and then plug in the rest with your produce. And this is culantro in lieu of, oh, my shadow's casting that there. Instead of cilantro, it's very difficult, at least for me, to grow cilantro here. Because of the weather, the sun tends to be so strong. Culantro is basically the same. It's just a thicker, tougher leaf. The flavor profile is exactly the same, and I've done really, really well with it. So there, so far, is the garden. Looking good. Let's go on our junkyard tour. I think I'll start from this perspective. So I'm going from the greenhouse and the garden beds towards the fence. So that is the front of the house. And gosh, I really did struggle a little bit with whether or not to share all of this with you. But you know what? If I'm going to be nothing but transparent here on this channel, I've got to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this is a brand new fence that we had. You may recall we had 10 trees removed from the backyard and the side yard the day before Christmas, no less. And yeah, so we had to get a new fence because of that. Now this is the area. So we're coming through here. This is the area that we were considering doing some sort of trellis or tunnel with some beautiful foliage, flowers, or something like that. Again, here's Protocarpus. This is looking a little weak. Not sure if that's going to stay or not. We haven't decided. Again, this is what we need our landscape architect for. All this mulch here is because of this massive tree that was over here. So this will everything here will be turf. Again, you see the rocks, and then there's some sort of like tarp under here. Not sure. Anyway, let's go look at the rest of. I feel like, did anyone watch Sanford and Sons? That's what this looks like. There's my beauty. There's the greenhouse. Okay, so you can see how it's just, grass just does not grow here. Also, if you have female dogs too, you'll understand when they do urinate, it does sort of burn or singe the grass, which is another reason why artificial turf seems to make so much sense for us. This is the avocado tree that I tried desperately to save from the freeze, and I did so successfully. You can see I have some beautiful growth coming here and some new leaves. I'm keeping this up because this is where I threw the blankets over, and I didn't want it to crush it because I don't trust the weather anymore, and I think we might have another freeze. Who knows? Here's more Protocarpus. Again, we don't know if this is what's getting replaced or not. I thought maybe the camellias can go here, a break in between. But y'all, we just need some help. And here is our beautiful lawn. A beautiful lawn of weeds. This is that French drain I told you about, which just not sure. Okay, so here, kind of where you see the table, that's where our fire pit will be. So I'm very excited. I think the whole paver project is starting quite imminently, so I'll have a lot to share there, which will be fun.
And then we go here. So these papers are going to be repurposed, and we're going to make Mr. Lyons' sort of barbecue outdoor kitchen this way. And so I do not like looking at the aircon. I don't like looking at the handler at all. So we're going to take these pavers, and you see his apparatus here. And we are going to extend them towards the aircon and then have some sort of facade there so we can see this is our fireplace, and we'll see. So we had a plumber here as early as most recently as this morning. Believe it or not, they're the ones that have to run the gas line for the fire pit. So he's there, and then of course behind me is the fireplace, and then sort of the two windows you see behind that, that is our kitchen. And so while we are not doing a complete kitchen gut or renovation of any kind, it's more of a refresh and a renewal. So we're resurfacing the cabinets, we're replacing the granite, and so we wanted a what do they call it? I just said it recently. A pour thing, a faucet that comes from the stove, you know. Anyway, so the plumber was here too to map that out, and of course irrigation for the perimeter of the house, which will have live landscaping. Obviously we won't need it for the turf, and of course for the front yard. So he's already put things in zones, and that's super helpful, and he's doing a drip irrigation system in the garden, which is so helpful when trying to keep everything watered and pretty. And finally, this is our master bedroom window and that wall that I was talking about that I think would look so pretty with something climbing and growing over it. Not sure that I love these bushes. These are also in the front yard. I sort of love the boxwood nature, that sort of feeling from them, but I don't love the flowers that are coming from them. And then again, I'm not sure if I want something low-lying or something growing from up and over. But I will give you this perspective and try not to fall in the pool. Hold on. There we go. I made it. Yeah, from the back. And I think when you see it like this, it makes sense to have something soft like the greenery going up there. I think would be so lovely. And here is the greenhouse. I know I keep saying that I need to organize it, and I really do. I actually I rarely know what I'm doing on TikTok other than looking for doggy videos and gardening videos. But I put something, there was a prompt to ask a question, and I did. And I guess it made a post for me, and I had no idea. But it was wonderful. It's actually turning out really well. And I'm getting some beautiful answers. Anyway, it was a question about organizing the greenhouse and what people were doing with posting pictures of their greenhouse, and I'm just so inspired. I just need the time. I'm catching up now. January is, what they call engagement season, and so, we're talking to new clients. We have weddings to prepare for, but I am working on it. So here's the extra topsoil from when we had the dirt delivered for the garden beds. I want to find something a little bit nicer to do with that. I thought even just a trash can with a lid on it, like an aluminum can. It's kind of a cool aesthetic. So here is the lemon tree that's really trying hard to give me some blooms. I'm very happy with the leaves. They're not puckered. When the leaves look like they're almost puckered, that's when you know it's caught that citrus disease, which is called canker. That's the exact reason why I'm growing them in the greenhouse. My previous tree had the citrus disease. And so you can see here, oh, there's the pea shoots, a little sprig of rosemary, which I need to trim, but it's doing really well. Well, I think the universe is telling me that I need to wrap this vlog up with all of you. As I was showing you the blossoms on the lime tree, which smell so beautiful, I wish you could smell it in here right now. When that happened, my battery died. And so then I went to start charging my batteries, got a new battery, came back in here to talk to all of you, and my memory card was full, and I do not have another one. So one is on the way, and fear not, the trusty iPhone is coming in clutch right now. And I have to say, the camera quality, and I'm not even on back of the camera, I'm forward facing so I can see myself because I don't have my glasses on, is amazing. I have the iPhone 17 Pro. So one thing I did want to touch on this week as well is something I've been thinking about a lot, which is not just my word of the year, which is quality. It's a word that just keeps coming to mind over and over with me this week. It's been resonating. And that word is evolution, or just sort of the whole premise
and the mere definition behind the word evolution. So for those of you who have known me for many, many years, I have friends that watch these that I've known for 20 plus years. And even if we've only met or we're friendly or acquaintances, even in the last 2, 3, 5 years, it was kind of a running joke that I never wore jeans. And I think I put that in my very first video as a fun fact. I don't think I really wore blue jeans until I was well in my 40s. And so I have found myself gravitating to them more and more, and it's likely a result of sort of this slower lifestyle that I've embraced. Again, I live a very not chaotic, but a very, very busy professional life in the special event industry. So I take such great care and focus on my personal life to make that a lot more slower, a lot more intentional, things like that. Hence the gardening, hence all of my analog activities that I've talked to you about. And so I found myself gravitating towards jeans. And that's also why I went to the Levi's store and I got a couple of pair of really great quality Levi's jeans. But every time I show up in them or something, someone that's known me for quite a long time just says, I cannot, wow, you're in jeans, or Lisa, you're in jeans, or you're in that. And I know it's because I'm evolving, and evolving is part of it, right? I now, at the age of 56, I am certainly not the same by any stretch of the imagination as I was even at 46. Certainly not 36 or 26 or anything like that. Nothing like my adult life. So many things have changed for me in the last, I would say, 5-6 years even. So I'm loving it. I want to start out by saying that this whole evolution thing that I'm going through, I'm absolutely loving and embracing it. And so, yeah, I think it's okay too. If you're outgrowing people or people are outgrowing you because they don't understand these changes you're making in your life, that's okay. You're evolving. The true OGs, they'll stick around. And I still have my OGs. I know that. Sometimes they're confused by me because, the Lisa of past never walked out of the house without a dress and heels on. And honestly, I had to put on heels, for work a couple weeks ago. And it's just, I don't know how I did it for so long. Still love dressing up. That part of me will never go away. But yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. I think evolution is a good thing. I think it's a natural thing. And I think if you're going through something like that, you should embrace it as well. Do what feels good for you. So I look forward to catching up next week. We have some busy things happening. We're going on a weekend trip. My wedding anniversary is tomorrow. I'm very excited about that. Mr. Lyons and I will be celebrating 5 years. Tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow. And it's very, very sweet. He's very, very, very traditional. I think I mentioned this before. We don't exchange gifts for any other reason or holiday other than our anniversary. And so 5 years is wood. That's the traditional one. And clearly I got this greenhouse and I got my garden bed. So we're calling that a very, very lovely anniversary gift. And then if you ever look up the charts, there's also like a modern gift guide for that year's, and it's like silver or silverware. So because this will be posted after our anniversary, I can let you know that I got us silverware. And don't come for me that I got something practical, because I did get a washer and dryer last year, because I think last year was appliances or something, but it was a washer and dryer all in one. It was fantastic. Anyway, I leave you with that. We're going to have a quick trip this weekend. The destination is to be not to be determined, to be announced. I will share that. I have a feeling it's going to be an adventure. And so many good things happening with vendors coming, which I look forward to sharing with you along the way. So I hope you are having a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's video. Bye-bye.